So when they come to Earth to get Earth to join the fight against
I don't know why
the
that's so
Beast
funny.
Planet,
Sorry.
they need to go and visit Princess Earthla.
Well, it would be Princess
Earthla,
Terra.
the Thea Witch? Sorry.
Ursula the Greetings and salutations from the world of war planets. Welcome to Shadow Raiders, a War Planets podcast. Or is it War Planets, a Shadow Raiders podcast? It could be any of, or is it alphanumeric? Either way, this is a Lasercomb production.
It is.
I am one of your hosts, NeoKal, and I am joined by the intrepid AP Sniddler. Oh,
Hello, everybody.
What a flourish.
Welcome.
We are also joined by the mysterious Christopher Siege. Oh, magnificent.
That was even better. You're like sprouting like a beautiful
And
flower.
here I was just sitting here like a fucking schmuck.
You give it a jazz intro and we're all ballet.
For anyone listening to this on audio, you missed Majesty. I assure you. You can come find us on YouTube if you want to see.
That's great. Okay.
Utter majesty.
Folks, we are reviewing the television show War Planets. And in Canada, it was known as Shadow Raiders. This time, we are reviewing episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8. Episode 5 is Wolf in the Fold. And it came out October 14th, 1998. Gentlemen.
Was a very good year.
'Twas a good year.
Was.
One of the summers that never ended, if I recall.
No, that summer was fucking hot as balls. Like, honestly, summer 1998 is probably the hottest summer I've ever lived through.
I remember being burnt a lot in the late 90s.
I remember that was like the first year. I think I went to the water slides or something and I came back looking like an absolute lobster. That was the worst idea, taking my shirt off, because I'm a ginger and that's like really dangerous.
That's like a death sentence.
You're basically just asking to get like fried.
Yeah, my partner is a redhead, so
wow.
I've heard the stories.
The legends are true.
bathtub of ice on a hot day sounds good, but it's brutal.
Oof. I have had ancestors that have passed away from sun, skin, cancer, melanoma related things. Laborers, right, in the sun a long time. Irish descent and Irish and Siberian. So, I am wary of the sun. Very, very.
Yeah.
I'm like a salmon, right? Like I'm completely pale right here, but my shoulders are just covered in speckled and like huge freckles and everything from the years of sunburns. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
I am lucky in the sense that I don't really burn at all. I tan.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Not trying to brag or anything, but
no, my brother's like that. Because our dad is half First Nations, and I take a little bit more from the mom's side. He takes from the dad's side, but he's the same in the winter, just as pale as me. You know, you could like blind people with our forearms, right? The underside, take that. But in the summer, holy hell, he becomes a different person. It's like a Pokemon evolving.
Well, I mean, for the video viewers of this show, like you can see me, like I'm a fairly white dude. Like my skin's pretty pale.
Whoa, creepy. All I can see is the pupils. That was horrifying.
That was kind of weird.
That was like a weird horror effect. All right.
You could cut that
What?
into like a
Three-
jump scare.
Three white men doing a podcast?
Oh!
Nerdies? A nostalgia podcast? Say it isn't so.
3 white
Oh,
men?
shit.
Huh? Yeah.
Untapped market, I say.
Untapped. We're pioneers in the field.
We're
Well,
niche.
we're
niche.
kind of pioneers in a certain field. It's a mystery why there aren't hundreds of podcasts about this show, Shadow Raiders.
I detect
We-
a hint of sarcasm in your voice, good sir.
We
I
tend
guess
to,
we will see.
we tend to focus on what's important. So this
Yes.
is important.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
very important.
So should we jump into Wolf in the Fold? Dare
Yeah.
we?
We shall.
What I will say is, like, weirdly enough, this is an episode that I remember really well.
Mm.
Curious.
And I don't know why, but like this is an episode I definitely remember watching when I was like 13 in 98.
I don't remember which one it was. I know I've seen it in 98, but I didn't go for it as much as I went for Reboot. No. Watching it as an adult, I know I probably said this in the past, but like watching it as an adult, I'm kind of like, this show kicks ass. I don't know why I never watched it as a kid. But yeah.
I think overall this
Oh, man.
show like is quite well written.
Yeah.
But there are times that we will get into over the course of this episode of the podcast where some very questionable narrative choices were made.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
what's
sorry,
the
go on.
gist of Wolf in the Fold? Mental Gen?
Mental Gen. So Wolf in the Fold, there's like a big like board meeting going on amongst the I don't know, the Alliance. Is that what they call
Yeah.
themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the leaders of the Alliance, right?
Yeah. The of each planet.
Mhm.
And so Graveheart is called this like board meeting, and King Femur, a character that I fucking loathe, especially after these episodes. Like I didn't like him
But now we just
after the episode that
hate
he
him.
was introduced in, which I think was episode 4. But like I just
Yeah.
find him fucking
Emperor Femur?
insufferable. Oh, right. Emperor Femur.
Emperor Femur.
My mistake.
Oh, yes. You know, you're talking like
Get it
sternum.
right, Bob.
No,
Yeah.
Pelvis. His name is Pelvis.
Pelvis, right, yeah.
Oh, yes. Femur. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Graveheart calls this big board meeting, and Femur,
Pyrus is there.
yeah, and Femur is all like, I should what idiot set up this table arrangement? And Graveheart's like, well, I did.
I'm always at the wrong end.
Yeah.
I'm immediately, before the line even came up, I was like, it's a round table, you idiot.
Yeah.
And even so, like Jade comes in and is like,
He
it's a
points it
fucking
out.
round table. You
There are no ends, you stupid lizard.
Yeah, like the whole King Arthur thing. It's supposed to be round to show everyone's an equal at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he moves across so that he can sit
exactly where he wants to sit.
as just like
it's a power
show
move.
of it's like a weird power move.
Strange statement.
Small man power move. Yeah, I thought originally it was so that he could go sit next to Jade, but that's actually not the case because Jade is standing and she's standing beside Graveheart.
Yes.
To show that she's supporting him, but she's not participating with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And Pyrus is there, and ye old Vizier, who Vizier, let me tell you, just like Femur, his personality doesn't get old. Fucking hate everyone and trust no one.
Yeah.
Jesus. And who's the tall guy that you could tell secretly hates Femur? His like his butler.
Pelvis?
Is it Pelvis?
It's Pelvis,
yeah.
Because they're
Pretty
bone.
on the nose.
They call them lizards, but they're clearly amphibians. Or sorry, they call them toads, right? And I'm like, but they're not toads. They have sharp teeth.
And I know I said this last podcast, but like, why the fuck are the people from Planet Bone lizard men? Like
Amphibians.
everyone else, like the people from the Planet Ice are like ice bugs, and the people from the Planet Fire are fire creatures, and like people from the Planet Rock are clearly made of rock. So like, why
Christopher,
are the
they
people
are
from
made
Planet
out of
Bone?
bone, just like we are made of bone. It's just on the inside. Think about it. He has bones on the inside of his body.
Grey's Anatomy with NeoKal, everybody. Well done.
Came for the Shadow Raiders, stayed for the
Stay for the
medical,
education.
stayed
for the
for the
biology.
education. Yeah.
Knowledge. Okay.
Did you know that teeth are technically bones?
Did you know that the floor is made of floor?
Did you know that the floor is hot lava? At least on the planet Fire.
No.
Did you know, good gentlemen, that the roof is indeed on fire?
Wow.
And
So put
that
your
we don't
hands up.
need
We
no
don't
water.
need no water. Yes, we do. It's
Let
a
this
double negative.
motherfucker burn.
So
Yes.
all the
Up, party
leaders
people,
except
put your hands in the air.
Lord, who's that stupid guy that's like King of the Rocks? Lord Mantle.
Lord
Um,
Mantle, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Because these
well,
names are always really on the nose.
So they're having a discussion, right? And they're bickering back and forth. And he's like, okay, let's take 10 to cool off. Because Femur's just butting heads with everybody.
Yeah, so this pissed me off because like everything that's
they
going
want to
on,
open. Yeah.
everything that's going on in this scene, like all the conflict is the result of Femur being an asshole. And like both
Yeah.
Pyrus and King Cryos are like, they're trying to be diplomatic, but they're still.
Oh, they're pleasant. They're
yeah,
great.
yeah, they're trying
Everyone
to
is
be diplomatic, but they're like,
except Vizier and Femur.
yeah, and like straight up in this scene, like Femur is the one being an asshole, and Graveheart's like, oh, I think we need to take 10 to let everyone's tempers cool off.
To be fair, 10 out of 10 like diffusing on his behalf. It's obvious that it's
True.
only Femur, but if
Yeah.
he was to say, Femur, you are an asshole, how about you shut that? Actually, maybe Femur needs that. He seems to like being put in his place, or at least by women. But amazingly, Graveheart has like spectacular diplomacy. The whole like, everybody chill out, let's take 10 or like whatever. I was like, even though like Jade can be hot-headed, but she's just reactionary to Femur.
Yeah.
He's only talking about Femur. But he's being nice and saying everybody cool down, and then Kryos is like, I'm always cool, or some. Actually, that's not even a joke. That should have been a joke or something. And so they leave, and I can't remember. Is this when like we cut to some like meeting in the void between like the beast generals and their dad?
No, for whatever reason, Femur goes to visit Tekla's
Right.
body that's in like,
and he's like,
Cryosleep.
wow, this dead broad sure looks fuckable. And I'm like, okay, we get it. You're fucking disgusting, like horny toad. Stop, TV show. Multiple times in these 4 episodes, he's like, boy, I'd like to put my toad dick in her vagina, if you know what I mean. And it's like, yes, we do. You don't need. It reminds me of high school. The guy that adds "if you know what I mean" to like every fucking third sentence. I'm like, please shut up. You're cringy.
And after that is the void meeting.
Right. And what's the gist of it? The same thing that their meeting always is. Dad, I want to do spy shit. And like fucking Kronk, what's his name? Bash?
I can't even remember.
Bork?
Bork laser.
Bork laser, yes.
Sniddler? What?
What's
Kronk?
whose name?
The big barbarian guy who's like, I want to use force.
Oh,
And she's like, no, we must block. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then their dad
Scott
just kind of like
Scott McSchwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's it.
And Daddy Void like looks at his daughter and sides with her. Like, spoiler, he always does. And at first, at least. And so they lead a really shitty attack force.
There's a line. I wish I'd written it down, but there is like a line that Brock, is that it?
Block.
Okay, so there's a line that Block says to Lamprey, and it's something to the effect of like, I'm sick of your stupid subtleties and your stupid plans of not being direct. Or something like that. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I wish I'd written it down.
Something like that.
Fucking it's along those lines. It's a fucking stupid line. It just makes him look like an idiot.
Block look like an idiot? No.
There we go.
No way. So there's
Block
a really
is
shit.
just-
I'm
yeah,
gonna
go on.
leap. Oh, man, nothing happens in this episode. I'm gonna leap forward a bit.
And yet, for some reason, it's the episode that really sticks out in my head.
For some reason, Graveheart and all of the royalty is at like the head of the. By the way, they're on planet Ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
They go out to fight the drones like directly, and I'm like, where are all the soldiers? You guys are like fucking royalty. Like, why are what? You got like 8 soldiers and they're all incompetent. But Graveheart is like, that's weird. That was too small to actually have done anything.
Mm.
How do you guys feel? Huh, that's weird. Anyways, do you want to go back to talking about shit? And there's a side scene where Lamprey shows up. She blasts a planet Ice guard. Because the guard's like, why am I stuck on guarding this stupid like robot corpse? And Lamprey shows up, somehow infiltrating the palace. What? There are like 100 people on planet Ice. How
I was
the fuck
wondering
did she
about
get in
this.
here?
Like,
Well, hang on. Well,
yeah.
I thought Beast was like undetectable.
By technology, but you can see
what is
them.
happening over there? What are you doing?
I'm just blowing my nose.
You're just digging for gold, aren't you? Yes.
Oh, I have allergies. There's no gold up there. I've looked.
He's still looking.
There's oil in these fields.
It's a gold mine. What was I saying? Yeah, I thought Beast was like undetectable unless they were like.
Well, but like what Cal was saying, like you could still like visually see this.
Yes,
like
the radar and stuff, they're undetectable.
Yeah. Like you can still see Lamprey like floating around.
She has a physical form, and she just like coasted through. Like it's never shown them being invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and she wasn't even trying to like solid snake it or anything like that.
No,
either.
she shows up, and I'm pretty sure she just like shoots and
snake.
What makes the beast machines? Beast machines? What makes the beast? Just the beasts. Deadly is they disintegrate you when they shoot you.
Beast drones.
Beast drones,
right,
thank you.
Right,
and all the beast weaponry, because the ice planet, the ice planet guard, he's like, oh! And he just disintegrates. There's just like a little blast mark on the ground.
Huh.
And then she comes over, and the blast mark's important because later evidence, something, I don't know. She goes over, and not only does she heal Tekla, she like turns into energy and enters her.
Bow chicka bow wow.
So later, when everyone's like, okay, now that weird, really pitiful attack is done, we can get down to business. And like sexy robot like Tekla's like leaning in the wall, and she's like, mind if I join you?
Mind if I join you?
And
I
now
know it's so obvious. It's so fucking obvious that like
that it's
I
not
know.
Tekla.
that it's not Tekla.
Like
Even the way she moves is different. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
find a guard and he's like hurt or whatever. And no, wait, what was it?
He was disintegrated.
Disintegrated. What was? Sorry, I'm trying to find it in this episode here.
Well, at first they're like,
But she
what the hell are
totally
you doing up?
gives herself away
Well-
already by being up. And then she says something stupid like, "Why waste time reviving whomever they come across?"
You're talking about the little droid that accompanied her.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Right.
Yeah,
So-
I'm drawing a blank on its name right now. but-
Yeah.
What happens is she's like, and everyone's surprised she's alive.
Yeah.
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 And they're
that
like,
was
holy
quick.
shit, you're alive. And and she's like, I was
like,
dead, but I got
"Nah,
better.
I'm just possessed. I'm good." Yeah.
I got
I got
better.
better.
Yeah. So she just got, and they were like, Graveheart's like, wow, I thought you were done for sure. And they're talk about, well, that's weird. This little droid was damaged. We should repair it. And she's like, what's the point in like reviving
Why-
something like that?
Why waste the time?
And immediately Graveheart's like you can
Oh?
see his eyes narrows, and
Mm.
she's all like, I mean, we should just do a medley
Yeah.
intro one day of one of the shows with just us going, Anyways,
Wow.
We could do like a supercut of characters in various mainframe shows just saying very perplexing things and then following it up with one of us going like
Home Improvement. Stay tuned for our Home Improvement laser
Yeah.
code.
Yeah. That's
Home
another one.
Improvement podcast coming soon.
So she's like, hey, I need to be part of these like meetings because I have special intel about the Beast Planet.
Yeah.
And
of course you do.
she gives like Jade the stink eye throughout this entire episode.
Don't you get it? I am also a hot robot lady.
Oh, but first I need to speak with Graveheart alone. I can't tell you guys what for.
It's sex stuff.
And it's so painfully suspicious. It's
Yeah,
so
I
painful.
know.
So
It's just
before
so
we
horrible.
jump into the next episode, this is the summary of this episode. The group talks about wanting to get Tekla talks about wanting to get all of the info about all of the weaponry and ships from each planet. And Femur at first is like, man, fuck that. You guys can give her your info. I'm not. And the others are amenable to it, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, let's leave and like talk this over and let them discuss things. And Graveheart's like, once he falls for that and goes to talk with her, and he's like, that's weird. Don't you think if I had stayed, I could have convinced them? And she's like, it doesn't matter. And she like pulls out a gun, and Jade comes around the corner, and she's like,
Oh, that's
what are you talking
that
about?
happens a couple of times in this episode too.
The whole
Yeah.
episode is this. They go in for a meeting. They have a disagreement. She goes, I need to talk to Graveheart alone. They leave. She tries to kill him. It fails. They go back in. They say, hey, maybe I should let you guys talk, and I should go back to talk about Graveheart. And she stink eyes Jade, and they leave. The whole episode is walking back and forth to a conference room.
Yeah. It's like
I'm not even
like,
exaggerating.
It's the Senate hearings in episode 1 of Star Wars. It's just very, very boring.
The whole
Nothing really
episode
happens.
is Graveheart being lured away from
Don't
the
you
Senate.
dare conflate Star Wars Episode 1 with Star Trunk.
My apologies to all the Trekkies out there. Yeah. Tronkies.
The Tronkies. I'm a proud Tronkie.
Yes.
So that's literally the episode.
Yeah.
And she's like, and then Femur is all like, "That's it. I've had it with." Or is that the next episode? Jesus Christ, I don't even.
Yeah, so Jade's been suspicious of fake Tekla the entire episode, and the show kind of plays it up as her just being a jealous woman, which I found kind of weird.
But Graveheart, like, is suspicious too. He's just not obvious about it.
He is suspicious, yeah. And
he's
indeed,
just really quiet. He's going to approach it the way Graveheart approaches it.
Indeed, fake Tekla shows her hand because she calls out Emperor Femur by name.
Yeah,
there's 2 or 3 things that reveal her, but he calls out one of them.
That's the one that he calls out. He specifically like pulls a weapon on her, and he's like, "You made a big mistake mentioning Femur by name. There's no way Tekla could have known that."
Yeah.
And he mentions she mentions a couple other things too that I caught beforehand. Didn't write them down because the episode's so fucking boring. But there are a few obvious clues besides her acting like a weird, shifty fucking villain the whole time. And Cryos, Graveheart, and who has met Tekla? Just those 2 before she went into stasis? It's obviously not the same person.
No.
Yeah, I think it's just Graveheart and Cryos.
Yep.
Yeah. So she runs away. Graveheart's all like, "Well, fuck you, bitch. Who are you, really? We know you're not actually Tekla." And she's all like, "See you later, fucker," and runs away and runs to Femur's ship and is like, "I'm a sexy robot lady. I want to join you." And he's all like, "Right here, toots."
So something weird happens. It feels so forced. Does anyone remember why Femur marches away and decides to leave the Alliance? It feels really petty, and I can't remember why. It feels very forced.
Yeah. I don't remember why myself either.
It's because the rest of the board members, whatever, are getting suspicious of Tekla, and they're like, King Cryos specifically is like, because he's suspicious that this is not actually Tekla. He's like, "I don't know if I feel comfortable right now handing over my like defensive capabilities to her, so I would like a little bit more time
to think about it,
to consider this." And then the Vizier was like, "Well, we're not going to do it either then." And then
and
then Femur was like, "Well, I'm not going to be the only one to hand over my secrets. I'm leaving."
Okay, here's why that's frustrating to me. Beforehand, when everyone else agreed, he didn't.
Yeah.
So when he's like, "I'm not going to be the only one to do it," I'm like, "You're so fucking contrarian, dude. You never agreed to it in the first place."
No.
Shut you fucking little whiny bitch. 18 plus podcast, apparently. I can't.
So there are 4 characters on this show that I actually really like.
I like a lot too.
Femur is not one of them.
Ew.
I like
that guy.
Elvis. He's hilarious. Don't like Femur.
He is so insufferable that sometimes he makes an episode of this show hard to get through.
I found myself skipping through his scenes at some point.
So the communication is so weird throughout this episode. What I mean by that is when they go to pull a gun on Tekla after they found out she's like whatever, they chase her through the palace and she just ends up near Femur's ship. Right?
Yeah.
And they start shooting at her, and Graveheart, it's Jade and Graveheart. And he's like, "Warning shots only. I don't want to hurt Tekla's like body." Have you seen that thing? And she's like, "I only fire to kill." And he's like, "Calm down." And on the inside of the ship, apparently it's only pelvis and femur. He's
Yeah.
like, what? Because they accidentally shoot the ship a little bit.
Right.
Femur's like, what? They're firing on us. And pelvis is like, perhaps you should go outside and have a word with them, sir. So I have a feeling like he's low key been trying to like kill femur for years.
They allude to that in a one of the later
I
episodes.
love that. That is actually good writing later on.
Yeah, it's very,
poison?
very.
About
Yeah.
the poison.
The poison, yeah.
It was good.
And pelvis is just like,
Pelvis is like up here for me. Like I find him like really interesting and funny, like 7 out of 10. And femur is just annoying, like spoiled. Like he's like Emperor is a family line, right?
yeah.
So he's a spoiled like little shithead.
Yeah.
Right? He probably poisoned his like older siblings to get this fucking position.
Probably.
Right?
Probably, yeah.
So good on pelvis.
So while I'm watching this, I'm like, man, if I was pelvis, I would have fucking killed this guy for the betterment of the planet. Right?
Yeah.
Like tell me the planet wouldn't be way better off if this motherfucker was gone.
Well, considering he keeps aligning himself with lamprey, like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like his
so
judgment is just that fucking terrible.
It's like they keep this weirdo around, even though they know how much of a dickhorn he is. So it's just why?
It's a dick horn.
It's a dickhorn. Dickhorn.
So
Yeah.
so femur like shakes pelvis and he's like, get us out of here. So I
Yeah.
guess he's also a pilot. So and they're the only two on the ship. So they fly off, but Tekla, being possessed by lamprey, jumps on the ship before they take off. And they're under the impression that they were being fired on by their former alliance members. Don't they have radios? Every episode it shows them have radios, except when I'm really like, geez, wouldn't a radio be really important right now? Like, why didn't Graveheart radio everyone and be like, guards, be on the lookout for Tekla. She's possessed by the beast.
Thing. Yeah.
So Cryos at the very end of the episode goes, what's going on? And then they fill in Cryos and he's like, I had suspected as much. Then why didn't you tell your guards? What is happening here? It's weird sloppy writing.
So
they don't radio the ship either. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself.
For a little so
I'm sorry.
What is known as the cell phones are known as the bane, as being the bane of the screenwriter in modern times, because most problems that any character, like any peril that any character is in, can usually be solved by them just pulling out a cell phone and being like, hey, I got some shit going down. So that's created a lot of narrative problems for storytellers over the past 2 decades. So there's always, you'll notice, like, especially in like horror movies and stuff like that, like characters, they'll always see like there'll always be some sort of contrivance where like, oh, we don't get any reception here, or like you'll see a shot of a character specifically losing their cell phone.
Yeah.
Or in Beast Wars. Oh, the Predacons are jamming this area.
Yeah.
Some simple communication.
Megatron and his fucking jamming towers in season 2.
Some communication about communication would be nice.
Yeah. Half of season 2 of Beast Wars, like, I swear, is the Predacon building jamming towers.
Very cheap jamming towers that Inferno and Waspinator just build.
And will
half the time.
And Inferno will quite frequently, like jokingly, just knock one of them over onto Waspinator.
So to be fair, they do set up that the Predacons jam large areas in season 2. So in season 3, when none of the Maximals can talk to each other, it's legit. They set that up.
Anyway, folks, another Lasercomb podcast, Too Much Energon, where me and Cal talk about Beast Wars. Go check that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Shadow Raiders.
So
we're on episode 2 now, so what's going on here?
Yeah, Sniddler. Mind War.
Oh my god.
Oh, you liked it better than than Wolf in the Fold.
Are we rating these as we go?
No, we'll
Should
just
we
do
rate each one or them as a whole?
We'll just do it at the end.
Yeah, let's do it at the end. But seriously, though, Mind War is a bunch
7
of fun.
out of 5 war planets.
Yeah. No. This is a weird episode.
So, this episode takes place in 2 places.
Yes.
The flagship of Femur from planet Bone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
In which case there are 3 characters. Femur, his number 1 pelvis, and Tekla is on the ship.
Yes.
I do dig the weird like Dom like sub thing going on here because Tekla like puts her heel on like Femur's face and says "beg doggy" because her lamprey's accent is coming out a little bit, but with Tekla's voice actor. Unless it's the same actor.
It's
probably.
A little. Yeah,
well, her voice is coming through, but Tekla actually like has a similar accent to Lamprey anyway.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
they
One's
do.
Just a little rougher than the other. Yeah.
And Lamprey's like sitting on the side, seemingly completely aware that Femur's being like played.
Yeah.
Because the gist of this episode is Tekla trying to convince that the others in the Alliance have turned on him. That's why they fired on the ship. And he's like, I knew it. I knew I couldn't trust those bozos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, radio them, dude. And indeed, they're following. What ship are the others in? It's Jade, Graveheart, Pyrrhus, Vizier, and Cryos. Following in, are they in Cryos' ship or?
Yeah, it's like his flagship, I think.
Yeah. But they don't like hail. But here's the thing, we've seen them able to hail each other from space. So what's the problem here, boys? Why don't they just radio Femur? Again, Christopher just detailed this, right?
Yeah. It's a plot contrivance.
Is that forgivable for you two? Like, is that something you go, okay, this is a trope, I can move past it, or is it something that kind of irks you?
For me, no, I'm fine with it, and I think
I'm not bothered. Yeah.
I think probably because I have like some insight, like as I just explained, like I have some insight into that. I'm like, okay, sure. It doesn't ruin a story for me.
But wouldn't that little plot wrinkle be completely solved if Tekla like took out a little device and put it on the wall and it was just like a signal jammer?
So did either of you gentlemen see the film that was released early last year, The Invisible Man?
I did not.
No,
I did not.
That is one of the best films of 2020, in my opinion.
Christopher loved it.
Oh,
it's fucking fantastic. I've seen it like 4 times now.
You wrote a thing up for Christopher Siege writes. Dang it, what's that website?
Oh, Letterboxd. Yeah, every now and then. Yeah, every now and then I'll write up a little like blurb on Letterboxd about a movie I've seen recently. Haven't done it lately. I should get back to it.
No.
But a lot of what goes on in that film can just be solved by people watching surveillance footage.
Okay.
And I even saw that pointed out in a couple of reviews that I read. But the way I look at it is the rest of the film is so great that yes, there is this one like glaring plot hole, but I can forgive it if the rest of the story is doing its job effectively.
Right.
That is not the case necessarily in Shadow Raiders here, but I just felt that was maybe worth bringing up. Also, listeners, go watch The Invisible Man. Great movie.
I'm gonna have to check that out now.
But just try not to think about the whole surveillance camera thing.
Oh, it's a dusty one today, folks.
It's dusty.
I'm back.
Oh, it's so dusty.
I don't actually have a lot of dust allergies, but I have dust mite allergies.
Huh.
Which means I can only wear a shirt once. I have to wash my bedding a lot,
Yeah.
right? Dust mites just live on the human body. Not to weird people out, but you have millions
It's
of little mites
It's true. Yeah.
all
I
over you.
feel like we all know that.
Okay, good. And for anybody that didn't know that, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's disgusting if you think about it, but
There are different kinds too.
it is what it is.
Well,
So the gist of what's going on in this episode is the gang is like chasing down Emperor Femur's ship which has like the fake Tekla in it. Tekla is going through a mind war in her head against Lamprey. They're basically fighting each other for control of Tekla's body, and like Tekla
it's implied
trying to fight back, and Lamprey is
it's implied Lamprey has access to Tekla's memories and she's using them against her. That part of the mind battle I like. It shouldn't be a fisticuff brawl in your mind.
And so so Tekla
it should be
is
a
like,
willpower battle, right?
Yeah, so Tekla is like, well, if you can steal my memories, I can steal yours too.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. I liked that.
Yeah, but again, that's a good part.
But then like Lamprey, like her like gaining dominance over Tekla's mind is visualized by her just literally growing.
Yeah.
And then Tekla fights back by also growing as well.
Yeah. Okay, so she grows, and that's symbolic of her berating her for leaving her planet for death. Because she's like, oh, you left your father, King Tech, all alone. I don't know his fucking name.
King Tech.
You abandoned him and let him
she's
die.
from the planet Tech, so why not? And her name is Tekla.
Her name is Tekla.
Oh, they're from the planet Tech. He's King Techie, and his daughter is Tekla.
Yeah.
And his wife's name is Queen Tekhet.
Heckley. Yeah.
Got it.
So when they come to Earth to get Earth to join the fight against the Beast planet, they need to go and visit Princess Earthla.
Well, it would be Princess Terra.
Earthla, the Thea Witch? Sorry.
Earthla, the Thea Earthla, the Thea Witch.
Oh, I'm dizzy.
Okay, 10 out of 10.
Okay, all right.
Get this guy to write season 3 of War Planets,
I'm gonna
folks.
look at the timestamp for this because I might make that the cold open. Okay, so about 43 minutes in. Cool.
That is I yield to that joke. Fuck. Princess Earthla. The Sea Witch. Folks, we're dying here. Don't worry, you're missing nothing about the actual show, Shadow Raiders.
Some bullshit goes on, and they eventually end up like getting Tekla back, or they go on to
I like
Femur's
this.
ship.
They disable the ship's thrusters by shooting them out. I guess it was that easy. And they're confused because they're like, how come we were fired on and now they're not firing again? Okay, let's try to dock them. The way you dock the Planet Bone ships, because they're like organic, they're bioorganic, they go underneath the ship and a giant like pierced like needle kind of thing like penetrates up through the membrane of the ship.
Gross.
And I'm like,
I say.
Who
misses? Yeah.
And after they penetrate through
insects reproduce with that method.
That's fair. With ovipositors and
penetration.
And literally piercing the carapace of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Femur, after finding out from Pelvis, sir, they're boarding the ship. He's like, well, seal off the bridge. And a giant, like, fleshy, like, tongue blocks the way. In which later it shows, like, Graveheart shoot it, and it goes, boop. It just disappears. I'm like, well, your ships are not tough.
I just imagine it being like, ow, and then flopping away.
They're fleshy objects.
Yeah.
They're
and
animals.
what happens here? They confront Femur, they tell him that it's Lamprey, and he goes, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Before you take her away, can you kick me in the balls one more time, doll? And because that's kind of what ends up happening while they're hanging out.
Yeah.
So they strap her to, like, they take her to the poison and antidote like chamber. And they like strap her down onto a table.
The anti-lethal injection.
Yeah.
They go.
And this is where we get the bit from
Sniddler, do you remember this?
I vaguely do. Hang on, I'm getting there right now. Where are you?
They're about to get in a circle and determine whether or not what they should do with Tekla. They're in that chamber. They're in the chamber, and basically they're like, how come there's so many like poisons and antidotes in this room? And Femur reveals, oh, well, you can never be too careful around your allies or your friends, or when you need an antidote in case you've been poisoned. And he looks over at Pelvis, and Pelvis, like, very obviously kind of like looks super guilty and like whistles and like moves his eyes away and like looks away, which reveals that's actually good writing, which reveals that not only has Pelvis consistently been trying to poison and kill Femur, but that Femur knows about it and just accepts it.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like medieval kings that like slowly make themselves immune to different poisons by like taking small amounts of arsenic until they built up an immunity to it and that kind of shit.
Developing an immunity to spending 5 years developing an immunity to iocane powder.
Yeah. Yes. Or like when Quagmire was maced in the face and he's like, nice try, lady. I'm immune. Giggity.
That was a Princess Bride reference.
I know. I was going to say, I was going to be like, yeah, that's going to build.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, I just meant that's a common theme. How does that?
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up this episode.
Yeah, you can wrap it up. Tell us how Tekla defeats Lamprey.
So they there's this big moral dilemma amongst the round table, basically, of like what to do with Tekla, because they're like, oh, so we've got Lamprey stuck in her body right now. We could just kill Tekla, and it would take them both out.
It would take a general out of the enemy.
Which, like, I'm watching this and I'm like, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, it's cold, but I mean, like, you don't really know this lady. And I mean, yes, she came to, like,
everybody.
She came to warn everyone, but still, I'm like,
this is why I like
I would definitely consider it.
This is why I like Graveheart. It's not an option for him.
Yeah.
And to appeal to the people that are a little colder, he goes, besides, she could have a lot of like information that can help us defeat the Beast Planet.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm not saying I would necessarily go for it, but I'm like, I get why people are considering
potentially billions of lives are on the line. You know, sometimes you got to be a Vulcan.
Yeah. So, so like you were saying, Graveheart was like, no, we can't do this. And everyone kind of starts, he kind of starts swaying everyone. And he's like, well, we'll get through all of this together. And then in Tekla's like little mind, like inside her head, in her little mind battle against Lamprey, she's like, yes, of course, together. And we see like spectral versions of like the main cast like form like a
circle, a kumbaya,
form a fucking kumbaya around her,
holding hands. Jade would never do that.
No, she wouldn't. And Tekla now has the strength.
Big.
She gets big, and she now has the strength to defeat Lamprey.
And kick her out.
She quite literally defeated Lamprey through the power of fucking friendship. And I'm watching this earlier, and I'm like, about ready to like flip my coffee table. I'm like, I can't fucking believe this.
But she's known them for like a few hours. She met them, fought with them, got put offline.
She's been in a coma for however long.
She's been in a coma. She woke up and was immediately possessed. Right?
She doesn't know any of them.
Doesn't know it. She probably doesn't know most of their names.
No, she doesn't know any of them. They don't have this grand history where they grew up together and went through so much. No, she's been asleep for half the season, a quarter of the season.
The season.
She only knows Graveheart and Cryos. She doesn't know anybody else.
And she's only known them for like an hour, maybe?
Maybe an hour, maybe 10 minutes.
Before she got knocked out.
Yeah.
Maybe Graveheart like helped her out.
They had one battle.
Yeah.
And then she got knocked out.
Yeah.
She's like, hi, my name's Tekla. No, the beasts are coming. You guys have to believe me. That's it.
I'm dead. Nanites.
So I'm surprised that she was able to even manifest all of the people there, because technically when she woke up, it was Lamprey. She should have woke up and been like, who the fuck are you? And you, and you, and you.
Oh, I had a dream. I'm like, you all were in it, but who are you?
You're getting into like the brass tacks of like the logistics of this, like how stupid this is. I'm just like, meanwhile, I'm just like, the power of friendship. Like, fuck off.
Hey man, the power of friendship is something.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's what happens. Like, I don't know. They say some bullshit. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 7,
J'accuse.
So, you guys ever watched that sitcom from like 20 years ago, Titus?
No.
That is like just slightly familiar.
Same here.
It's a funny show. I'm a fan of the creator / star Christopher Titus. I even listened to his podcast. I think he is the best of the boomers.
I've watched that a few times, and his dad's like this old conservative guy who wants to kick his ass all the time. Right?
Yeah. He always calls him a wussy.
I grew up with like Titus and the gang. Like those are like my people.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that is a good thing. I'm saying I grew up with dudes like that.
Yeah, totally. It's one of the reasons why like that show was on when I was like 15. It's one of the reasons why I liked it like right away when I saw it, because I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of vibe with this. Yeah. But there's one episode where his best friend, he's this like kind of effeminate dude named Tommy.
Right.
There's one episode where I can't even remember what's going on, but like they suspect Titus of doing something, and like throughout the entire episode, the like C plot of the episode, which for those out there, a C plot in sitcom writing is usually just a recurring joke that keeps coming up throughout the episode.
Yeah, it's not the background plot or the B plot. It's not the main plot. It's just a little reference to itself.
It's a through line that goes, and it's usually like something like in Friends, like I don't know, Chandler keeps having like a piece of paper like
In Friends, when they do
stuck to his shoe,
that thing or something.
Yeah.
But so the C plot of that episode was like Tommy kept like bursting in anytime someone was accused of something and being like, "Sh'accuse!"
Right.
So anytime I see that word, it's what I think of. So when I was watching this earlier,
woke up a weird little part of my brain that was like switched off. I don't know if that's for good or bad.
So, well, all of every episode of Christopher Titus's show is on his YouTube channel, which I find kind of hilarious because he's been, over the past year, he's been uploading them one episode at a time. And he's literally said on his podcast, he's like, the rights are kind of to the show are kind of nebulous since since Disney bought Fox. Like, we don't really know if anyone owns this. So this is my show. I'm just going to upload episodes until someone tells me not to.
That seems like him.
Which I admire.
Yeah. That's cool.
And so far, like, no one's told him to take his episodes of the show down. So cool. Yeah, so all of Titus is on YouTube. Go check that out. It's a funny show. Some parts of it have aged a little poorly, but for the most part, I think it holds up.
So what's the gist of Dicuss? Jade is walking around on the fire planet. She gets a whole bunch of racism thrown at her.
Yeah.
The fire people are assholes.
Yeah,
she's
she
an
gets a
asshole
whole
back.
Like, they're all very rude.
She gets a whole bunch of racism thrown at her, and she's all like, well, fuck you then. And then they like gaslight her about it.
Well, there's also this whole like, oh, then they try to push her around and she defends herself and then they're afraid of her.
Yeah.
And you can handle things more like Braveheart, right? And she handled things not diplomatically, but
I'm very
to be
much
fair,
with Jade in this situation.
But to be fair, if you touch me, get fucked. Like it's on, right?
I say as someone who straight up got into it with someone at a store yesterday. I very much handle things like Jade does.
And for the kids watching at home, it keeps showing a shadowy silhouette of Lamprey.
Yeah.
She's like, there's her shadow being cast, so she's in the background planning something.
Yeah. Yeah, and some like firebug asshole, like the one who's being like super racist to Jade. She's like, he puts his hands on her, and she's all like, "No, fuck you." And she says, "If you touch me again, I will kill you." She says that
very clearly for everyone to hear.
Yeah, very clearly for everyone to hear. And that's important because that motherfucker's going to end up dead very shortly.
Yeah. Well, that guy's scared very easily.
For somebody
all
being
she did was kind of like put up her fist, and he kind of like, huh, and then he leaves. This is not over. And that was it.
Yeah. Well, those types are usually cowards deep down.
Of course. And
they bark, so you bark louder at them, and then they like skitter.
Eventually, one bites. Next thing we hear about that,
there's a moida. There's a moida, folks.
There's been a murder.
And
everyone's like, oh!
And the vizier's like, what? We haven't had a murder here in 10,000 years. Fire people never kill each other. And I'm like,
find that
really?
hard to believe.
Really? Yeah. I'm wondering, because it shows like the palace up in the rocks and it shows like one little city. Are there like 200 people on each planet? Like, are the populations incredibly tiny?
They're very tiny planets, I'm noticing.
Or are there millions of people? I'm confused.
I don't know.
Because the idea that not a single murder has happened is kind of as accurate as like when China says they don't have a single case of corona. I'm like, I'm sure that's an accurate statistic. And I'm talking about the beer, folks. Calm down.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, no
course.
Coronas.
Of course.
Not
just
even a
wait.
single case.
Just wasting away in Margaritaville.
Yeah.
I like
Some
Yeah.
people say that there's a woman to blame,
And
but I know it's nobody's fault.
except Jade.
Bam, 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 bam.
So the Vizier's like, there could be only one. It is you, woman, rock woman.
Who else? Oh,
Yeah, who else? And I'm like,
Yeah, who else could possibly have done it?
it's you, Rockhound.
Literally no one.
not the bad guys, who are
No.
known to just like fucking waltz in on our planet unnoticed.
No. I love this fountain. I love the fountain in like the city square. It's just like this. It's lava, obviously, but it just looks like little. It's like it looks like diarrhea, basically.
So I'm skimming through it, and honestly, like, not a ton happens in this episode. It's mostly
really.
like, no, it's mostly like, so she's thrown in jail, accused of murder.
And then they put a timer.
The vizier is like the punishment for death, or the punishment for murder on the planet Fire is death.
Is murder.
The punishment for death is murder.
So the punishment for murder is death. But it's like, why do you even have that as a clause when there apparently hasn't been a murder in so long? Like,
good catch.
Why would you even think about it?
Fuck
like,
you, Vizier.
Yeah.
Your people never murder each other, but you have a punishment for murder?
And for literally 10,000 years.
And apparently that... Oh, I made that number up when I was saying that. But apparently the punishment is...
Well, I took you seriously, damn it. But I'm sure it's correct.
And now.
It's canon. It's laser comb canon.
The punishment is they put you in a cage.
Hashtag.
And kind of like a weird like sundial, a weird like device just slowly brings you closer and closer until you're submerged in a lava fall. Yeah.
That seems a little ineffective for people made of fire and molten rock.
Does that just kill them more slowly?
Is that the punishment for those who murder that aren't from Planet Fire?
Yes, because Planet Fire civilians don't murder each other.
Well, apparently not. But if it ever happened, then how would they do this? Would they freeze them? Do they have an ice box laying around?
They put you in the walk-in freezer for half
we're
hour.
gonna send you to Planet Ice and just
Mr. Freeze just shows up with his freeze gun.
Icicle, lethal injection.
All right,
water.
everyone.
I don't know.
Chill.
What killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age.
Wow.
I would do commentary on that show.
Oh, I absolutely would.
I would fucking love to do a commentary track for Batman and Robin.
Let's do
because
it.
I unapologetically love that film.
I love that film.
It's
like, god awful,
but I love it from a DC movie.
It is absolutely stupid.
That's what I want, though.
It's camp. It's comic booky. It's like the old Batman. Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb type humor. You know,
like I've always looked at it as a contemporary for the 90s, a contemporary version of the 60s Batman show.
Yeah.
I revisited it recently, and my only real criticism is I find the tone is a little uneven. Because sometimes Mr. Freeze is like actually being like dramatic and morose and like sad about his like frozen in a coma wife, and then immediately afterward he'll be like, Frosty!
And he'll be like, I hope you know how to deal with my trained killer goons. Go, hockey players, get them!
Yeah.
I don't give you guns, use your hockey sticks. And I'm like, what is happening? And then like just everything about it is 11 out of 10. and like they have skates built into their like Bat and Robin suits.
Yeah.
It's great. Batman thinks of everything.
Rubber
Yep.
lips are immune to your charms.
See, they think about everything. Fuck.
Bat credit card. Don't leave the cave without it.
10 out of 10. Just that is what I want in a movie. Bring back. See, that is how I think DC should have fought Marvel. They should have brought 90s just fucking super campy like superhero movies back to combat the super serious kind of tones of Marvel movies. Just bring back 90s cheese. Just fucking full blast too.
Yeah.
Fuck it, bring back Arnold as Freeze too. Jim Carrey hasn't aged in the last 25 years. Fucking bring him back too.
Yeah, bring back the Riddler.
Oh, Uma Thurman looks great. You know what? Just make Beyond.
Why don't
2.
you just do Batman
2.
Forever? Batman Forever 2.
Forever. Just call it Forever. Call it Forevermore.
Batman Forever. The same.
One, two Batman. One Robin.
What's Alicia Silverstone doing these days?
Being a mom and an anti-vaxxer.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Back. Girl,
I'll say.
Actually, Tim Burton's Catwoman.
Ooh, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yes. That is.
We can actually use the web. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michael Keaton.
Bring back all the Batmans.
A lot.
Ben Affleck's coming back as Batman one time only for that movie too. Michael Keaton's coming back.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I know he promised the world he would never do it again.
Let's bring back George Clooney.
Please, George Clooney.
Please, George Clooney, if you even give a shit about Shadow Raiders and you want to see this, and if you're listening, please come back and be another Batman.
Bring in Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman from the animated series. Bring him in live action. He did that. He did that for the CW shows.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he played like old man Batman from like Dark Knight Returns, like era Batman. Which I was like, hey, that's cool. He's getting to actually play
the world.
He's actually getting to play Bruce Wayne in live action. That's pretty rad.
That is rad.
So yeah, bring him into Flashpoint.
I think Clooney promised the world that he would never ever be Batman.
I think it was. I think that was Val Kilmer.
Or was
that Clooney or Kilmer?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds more like George Clooney, but I don't know. I haven't heard.
Oh no, there's an interview.
I don't think Val Kilmer really enjoyed it at all.
Kilmer's got some pretty serious health issues.
I think he just got over throat cancer. I'm pretty sure. Oh.
Yeah, and so that's why he hasn't been acting in years now. So
theoretically,
I'd love him to come back, but like
bring back Val.
Holy shit! I forgot that this was a War Planets podcast.
So Jade is in a cage over a lava fall.
And Femur shows up holding a briefcase, and I was like,
"He's like,
is this happening?
You off? Yeah,
I can get you off if you can get me off. If you know what I mean, penis." And I'm like, "Yes, we know what you mean, dude."
Penetration.
And she grabs his little neck donglies, and like chokes him, and he's like, "Harder."
Yeah,
and she's like, "Get away from me, you disgusting toad."
Oh, did I mention that Graveheart convinced Prince Pyrrhus to delay the execution for like 12 hours or
Oh
whatever,
yes.
to
To
allow
look for
him time
evidence.
to investigate the case. Yeah.
And Pyrrhus agrees because he's like, I'm actually curious about this too.
Yeah. I have a lot of questions myself. Like,
So
what do boobs feel like?
What did they look like?
And Graveheart's like, it depends what planet they're from.
Like in
If
Total
anybody
Recall.
Jade's got some real boulders, you know what I mean? If you know what I mean.
like bags of sand.
Hey lady, nice sandbags. That would be a horrible insult. Holy crap, can you imagine?
So,
depends though, I guess.
long story short, the gang goes to the alleyway to investigate the crime scene, and Lamprey is just there with her beast drones and is all like, haha, I had hoped to frame the rock woman, but now you die. And I'm like, I'm watching this earlier and I'm
Thank
like,
you.
she just fucking kneecapped her own plan.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, right before that, Graveheart's Pyrrhus. Apparently, there's no police on this entire planet because there's like a tape outline.
They're all
of
at the
body.
palace guarding the guarding Pyrrhus and the vizier.
Right. And they present. There's some guards. They had a chalk outline or a tape outline, and they present the gun to Pyrrhus, and Pyrrhus looks at it and he's like, "Oh, hey, Graveheart, check this out." And the base of the gun is like melted. Right? And as we and here's the thing, later on, right? I think it's like I can't remember exactly who. It's Cryos in the next episode, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But he says, "No, Cryos, you can't touch them. If you touch..." But here's the thing, it's never told us that. Graveheart just yells this at Cryos. He's like, "Oh, you can't touch them." So something about their touch can like destroy you. Just like their blasts. When their blasts hit you, you just burst into like a light and you're gone.
Yeah,
So
I was kind
something
of
about them touching normal matter, right? Like the gun melts or breaks it.
I was kind of confused about that. Cause like
They
I was
never
watching
showed
it.
us that before.
Yeah, I was watching it and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess like, oh, we lost Sniddler.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
What has happened?
We lost your video, good sir.
That was very strange.
And he's back.
I am
There
back.
he is.
Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, no worries. So yeah, like I figured, like I put together pretty easily, like what's going on. I'm like, oh, okay, the gun was melted because someone made a void matter touched it.
Yeah.
Okay, but the show doesn't explain that at all.
No.
Yeah, so they figure it out because Lamprey is just, as I mentioned, like kneecaps her own plan and is like, I framed the rock woman and now you die. Except
Yeah,
they're the
she's
heroes
like,
of the
"Oh,
show.
I had hoped to frame her, but since I have all of you together right here, a few of you together right here, I'll just take you out."
Yeah, which fails. So it's like her entire plan, like,
but it's like her and like it's her and like 8 drones.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
we figured out how to kill your henchmen. So this is really useless.
They're slow. They're really bad shots.
Yeah.
What are you expecting? And there's a gunfight, and they run down a dead end alley.
They have a giant weak point on their chest to be attacked for massive damage.
And they do look like giant enemy crabs.
Kinda,
yeah. Except, they walk with their weak point facing forward.
Yeah. Not
no shield or anything.
Not on their soft underbelly.
So this is weird. They go into the alley and the vizier's like, "What have you done, you fool?" Like they followed Graveheart down this alley. And it's just like, "You have put the king in danger. You have put Pyrrhus in danger." This is so weird to me. So Graveheart's gun is empty.
Yeah.
I fucking laughed out loud and shook my head and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding?" And my partner was like, "What?" Graveheart grabs a dumpster which, by the way, is immune to the beast drones like antimatter
Yeah,
blasters.
very strange.
Oh, sorry. He picks up a barrel like Donkey Kong and goes, throws a like a barrel. He literally, do you remember this? He throws a fucking barrel.
No, I don't.
It wouldn't even hurt Pyrus. Like it wouldn't even hurt a kid. He throws a barrel at a beast drone and it immediately disintegrates. It
Yeah.
reminds me of when Pyrus and who's Cryos' daughter were like throwing rocks at them. And the rocks
Yeah.
fucking worked, right? And so after Donkey Kong fucking throwing one, he goes behind a dumpster, which is completely immune to void antimatter blasts,
Yeah.
and he pushes it, and the force of the dumpster bumping into the beast drones annihilates them. So you just need to gently tap their fucking weak points, and I'm not even
Seems like
kidding.
a design flaw on the beast.
If you watch nothing else, watch this stupid fucking clip. If you don't watch anything else, watch this. He defeats like 6 of them by pushing a dumpster down an alley, and one by one they all get disintegrated. And then when he gets to the end, it's just like 1 or 2 beast drones left and Lamprey. And Lamprey floats up into the air and she's like, say goodnight. And she points a gun. And then Cryos shows up to save the day with some guards and stuff. And Lamprey's like, I'll get you next time, Grave Heart. And she just leaves.
Yep.
And they just let her go.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even make up a funnier or more stupid scene to beat beast drones. What would they do without Graveheart? Jesus Christ. Well, indeed, in these episodes, Cryos, because he's always like, I'm just a miner. What am I trying to do with diplomacy? And Cryos is like, do not sell yourself short. It is filthy commoners like you who represent the good of us all. And Graveheart's like, thank you?
Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend.
Joe the plumber. If anybody remembers that. Joe the plumber.
Hey, Graveheart, do you want to go out and get a beer at the pub down the street? Sorry,
No.
I can't. I'm just a miner.
Just a miner.
But for the folks listening, we set that joke up beforehand. But now was the perfect time to deliver.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's episode 7. Episode 8 is blood is thicker than water.
So Jade is spared. The end, yeah.
Yeah, Jade was saved. That was kind of predictable.
What do we got, folks?
Blood is thicker.
Blood is thicker.
On...
Oh, this episode, man.
Okay, so I just watched this episode like 2 hours ago, and I don't remember anything about it.
Okay, so Zira. So Zira off screen magically, she's just gone. Right? And all of a sudden, the palace is crawling with drones. They don't know what happened, and the way the episode starts is the princess's ship lands by going inside of this big glacier. Kind of cool design, actually. I dig it. Their palace is inside this glacier, and the ship lands right, and there are beast drone like crescents, little crescent rolls, like tucked up and attached to the ship, but Zira is not on board. Oh, where is she? Oh, nobody knows. So off screen somehow, Block kidnapped Cryos' daughter, Princess Zira.
Oh, it makes no sense. Already makes no sense.
And well, I can forgive that. That happened off screen. So he messages King Cryos. Oh, sorry, the palace is like slowly being overrun by slow moving drones, right? And he gets a message from Block, and he says, we have multiple drone bases set up all on planet Ice. But on one of the bases, I have your daughter. And the camera pans and shows Cryos' daughter Zira behind bars.
Oh my god.
Now let's kick some ice. The Batman and Robin podcast, folks.
Yep. Bring back George Clooney.
So what? So what are you going to do? Are you going to attack my bases, or are you going to freeze under pressure?
I'm famous. I don't take shit from nobody. I smoke my stogie wherever I want.
So I didn't.
Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
Who is your daddy, and
I
what
do what
does
they
he do?
want. Put that cookie down.
Who told you could eat my cookies?
Fuck.
Don't you know the building's on fire?
I'm here. Kill me.
I love nuke food.
Do it.
Do it.
I'm here. Kill me. Okay.
Give me your clothes.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Come on, Cohagen. Give these people air.
See you at the party, Victor.
You're fired.
Excuse me. Don't disturb my friend here. He's dead tired.
What the hell are you?
So I'm just gonna say, like, this is kind of a terrible podcast because we're supposed to be talking about Shadow Raiders, but we're clearly not invested enough in the episodes that we're
okay,
just
people
like
listening, the show's
going.
bad. I'm sorry, but the show's bad. I'm saying it. Shadow Raiders kind of sucks right now.
I personally love it, but yeah, like just I feel like this is more of a roast than a podcast about a show.
Okay, here's the gist of the show. I didn't understand this till the very end, and holy shit, do I have some words. But I didn't know this. He silently needs to choose duty or family. And I guess when you're the king, you must choose duty before family, right?
Yeah.
Duty before daughter.
Right? So I
Duty.
didn't understand this. Him going to the front
Jack
lines,
Bauer
going
would have
in a
some
ship,
fucking words about that.
going to a ship, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, why do the kings need to take to the front lines on this planet? I think it's cool that he does, right?
Yeah.
But he reveals that, hey, the locket that my daughter has a special hollow signal.
Yeah.
That I can detect. So I can find out what base she's in, and we can just destroy the other bases just fine. So he goes in, he infiltrates the base like a boss with Jade of all people. They split it up. I think it's Pyrus goes with Femur to fly around in a ship. Jade goes with Cryos.
I don't trust
Braveheart.
I don't trust Femur with Pyros.
Bad influence.
That's a very it just seems
Yeah.
creepy.
No, I don't get creepy. I get like perverted uncle.
That's
Yeah,
what I was getting at. Yeah.
He's like, stick with me, kid, and I'll help you get pussy. And he winks at him and nudges him. And Pyrus is like, oh, I just want to play with Transformers, actually.
Hey kid, you want a stogie? Dude.
Hey, you.
Dude, I'm like
you want
12.
a stogie?
I'm like 12. Yes. So what happens is, like a fucking boss, they land in one of the beast planets, like secret bases on ice, which apparently they have. There's like 5 or 6. And for some reason, Cryos is like, Jade, stay here. I'm going after my daughter. And I'm like, and Jade is like, okay. And I'm like, or you can go with them. Like that's kind of important, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she stays with the ship and he infiltrates. But not only that, Cryos's daughter, Zira, is actually quite capable. And she tricks one of the beast drones. Apparently, oh, by the way, Block just pieced out. He's not even in the rest of the episode.
Yep. He's gone.
So she tricks one of the beast drones into coming because she screams, but she's attached to the ceiling. She sneaks out. She locks the beast drone in her cell, and she kind of infiltrates and Metal Gear Solids through the base as well. And then she meets up with her dad, King Kryos, and they get out together, and I kind of like that, right? And Jade busies herself by putting explosives around this ice cave. And then she comes back and she's like, "We've only got 30 seconds." And I'm like, the fucking king and the princess are in the cave and you put the explosives on a timer?
Yeah, I was wondering
What
about
the
that.
fuck is wrong with
Yeah,
you?
that seems like bad planning, bad timing,
The
bad
episode
something.
is written so bad. Holy shit.
Blimey.
This episode's bad. I mean, all of them
It,
are kind of bad.
like it,
And then they fly away.
More happens than Wolf in the Fold, but which is just a funny name. More happens here than in Wolf in the Fold, but it's still just so many holes, so many questions, and yeah. So
Then something blindsides. Hey, Sniddler, were you blindsided by the ending of this? I was furious with how
I actually
shitty this ending is.
forget the ending.
Can I sum up, or Christopher, do you have anything to say before I
Nope.
put
Take it
a
away.
bullet in this horse?
I was
this is
sorry. I was
Go ahead.
distracted reading about the writer of the previous episode, Jacques. Apparently, she committed suicide in 2004.
Oh,
well, that's
Yeah. So, you being
Hey.
like, let's put a gun to this, I'm like, huh, interesting coincidence.
Out of the 4, that's probably one of the funnier or better ones, which isn't saying a lot. But anyways,
what?
this is none of them are really good. But this is how this episode ends. This blindsided me. I didn't realize this was like some weird dilemma because Kryos was in the front lines. He blew up a fucking base. He contributed a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, in the background, Graveheart is like walking around by himself like a fucking boss. Where are the guards? What the fuck is happening here?
They do a lot of stuff on their own.
Tekla's in a comm room, whipping around to different terminals and video cameras,
Yeah.
letting him know, Graveheart know over comms, and he's going through room by room, being like, storage area, clear, right? And like eliminating all of them like a badass, like a scene from Alien, right? And he's just cruising around with his huge like ice cutting gun, his sonic gun. And so he single-handedly, with Tekla like on comms, takes out all the drones in the palace. So at the end of it, Kryos comes back and he's like, "I have done my people a disservice. I have chosen family over duty." And I'm like, how?
I know. I didn't like that
How is
either.
the king expected to take on the enemies?
I forgot about this. Yeah, you're right. I was like, what? What in the world? He just kind of like.
And Graveheart's like, hold up. Graveheart's like, hold up. Didn't you like take out a whole base on your own with Jade? And didn't you take out like 15 of the fucking drone? And before he even says, he goes, no. It's only right. I advocate
to
the throne.
To this NPC right here.
Yes.
So he stops, he pushes aside, and already, like off screen communicate, some nameless dude wearing like gold jewels like comes up.
Wearing like a helmet. Like he looks like the most. That's why I call him an NPC, is because he looks like a non-character guy.
We've never met other royalty on it or whatever. His people must be confused as heck. They're like, "Are you flying around blowing up bases?
You just saved us. Now you're quitting." Big disservice.
Here, this other person who's never led us even once. No, it's my duty. He didn't even stop to ask the others if this was a smart decision. So my respect for the writing is womp, but my respect for Kryos, the way he's written, just went way down because he is a good leader. And if he really wants to defeat the Beast Planet, he needs to stay in power.
Those 4 characters that I alluded to earlier that I really like on this show, Kryos is one of them.
Yeah, I love Kryos.
And I'm like, so some nameless dude we've never met before is going to do a better job than you? Because what? You single-handedly like took out an entire base on your own? And he's saying this in front of all of his soldiers and stuff. And I'm like, what were they doing? Should they advocate? They were standing around while Graveheart single-handedly cleared out the entire palace.
Yep.
What? I was so confused and enraged. I was like, holy shit, I think I kind of hate this show right now. Thank God I only had to do 4 episodes.
I was actually very upset by that. Like at least like last like 30 seconds there.
So I think what they were going for in the story was basically that Cryos as a king should not put personal matters above matters of state. And what he did was he put saving his daughter above the good of his people.
Did he?
Should
he have just blown up the cave with his daughter in it? He still blew up the cave.
What I'm saying is I think that's what the writers are going for.
Yeah,
I know, and
I
they
feel
failed.
like it was it was misdelivered.
Is the other king gonna be on the front lines like Cryos is every single episode? Fighting with a literal fucking like plasma
pistol?
Yeah.
Thing.
That dude's badass.
Yeah.
He's in like every battle. He's fighting the drones. Oh.
And he's also like a really like cool-headed individual and diplomatic individual too. Like the guy's the total package. As far as like leadership is concerned.
Literally, he's the best leader. Without question. And he doesn't talk to the other people in the alliance. He's just like, no, I must. And then he just walks off, and there's already like, what's it called? A coronation celebration?
Yeah.
For like a new king. And I'm like, this guy was just waiting in the background, like looking at his watch, tapping his foot.
You just prepared this in that time?
Yeah, Graveheart's like, hey, wait, oh no, it's over. Okay. I'm perplexed, man. Okay, so I'm done ranting. Sniddler, what are the good beats of these episodes? Before we move on, each of us, I want us to talk about. I don't even think we need to touch on the bad. I think we focused on that already.
What are the good beats of these episodes? A lot on the bad. The good of these episodes.
Okay, so number 5, Wolf in the Fold. That's where Tekla gets possessed and she's trying to take out Graveheart. I like, I'll start it off. I like that Lamprey acknowledges that Graveheart's the glue and he's the most important and she needs to take him out. I like the character relationships like with Femur and Pelvis.
Yeah, and even Cryos. Like because Graveheart in that episode is doing his whole I'm just a minor thing.
Yeah.
He's supportive.
Cryos even says to him, he's like, don't underestimate your importance in this alliance.
That's a good point.
He actually seems to acknowledge that. He's like, you're right. Like it doesn't help the situation if I'm second guessing myself. He does help him.
The last episode notwithstanding, I will say I think Cryos is probably the strongest character in this show.
Yeah.
I like Cryos. I like Graveheart. I like Zira a lot, actually. Mm-hmm. You brought this up last podcast, Christopher. The kids are not annoying in this show.
No,
I actually Prince Pyrus is another one of the 4 that I mentioned that I like on this show.
Yeah, Pyrus, Cryos, Zira, and who's your 4th?
Well, for me, it's Graveheart, or it's Cryos, Graveheart, Jade, and Pyrus.
Yeah, I like Graveheart. I like Pyrus. I like Cryos, and I like Jade, and I like Zira.
Zira is pretty cool.
Are all good. We haven't seen much of Tekla, but Tekla could come around, and I could end up liking her.
Yeah. I think I just didn't really like take Zira into consideration because like we don't see her a lot in the show. Like she's only she's a very much a secondary character.
Yeah.
From what we've seen, she is intelligent and funny and is can think on her feet. When she
Mhm.
like sneaks out on her own. Her interaction with Pyrus, I really liked them interacting and dealing with the drones on
Their
Planet Fire
dynamic,
that one
yeah.
episode. Yeah. And you know what? Even Femur, the show knows what he is.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like him, but you're
I was
not
gonna
supposed to
say-
like
I
him.
was gonna say, I do like how the characters are written. I don't like how they're written into stories. With Famer, it was like you just said, the show knows what he is. The viewers know it. You're not supposed to like him. Like, why is he there? But he's got that almost out of place personality. Because you got everybody who's kind of like serious and dignified and tough, rugged hero, and then you got like
You need the
but then
comedic.
but then like out of nowhere you get this, hey guys, I'm an idiot, and then like this total
Basically a used car
clown,
salesman.
total clown used car salesman type guy.
Disgusting emperor.
Hey, I'm a misogynistic pedophile, probably.
Whoa, whoa.
You know what I mean? Hey, come with me, kid. We're a creepy uncle. It's like you said, a creepy uncle. Yeah.
I hate that guy. So you know what? It's canon now.
Yeah, canon. Yeah,
Hey, kids,
I mean,
you want me to buy you some beers?
I like what the story.
What a stogie!
I like what the stories are
Greater
trying
story.
to say.
Yes.
Sorry? Yeah. I like the whole thing. But these episodes, some of them just aren't well written. Like they could be told a lot better. Like
All the gunfights are boring.
All the gunfights are boring now.
Every single gunfight is boring.
It has to be more. I don't know if they're working around a BS&P thing, like with Reboot, where they were like kind of like, you can't do this way, you can't say that, you have to have one of these things.
The drones just burst into energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So because it was in the 90s, it was just after Reboot, and Reboot did have to go through a whole bunch of stuff where like, oh, well, that's not appropriate for kids television. Now, obviously, they're going
I think
a bit
they were
more
just dealing with YTV for this
probably
show by this
probably.
point.
But still, like they would have had their standards with what's suitable for technically what is considered child programming, or more kid oriented type stuff. Even though like it is a tad more violent and it is a tad more not. You know what I mean?
Write it. I don't think the restrictions on making a kids show affect the episode to episode plot. I think the plot of each episode is incredibly weak.
I think it's the element.
But the greater plot has so much potential.
It does, yeah.
So and you know how? Go ahead.
That's the thing. Is like the show has really strong characters, and it has a very compelling, overarching narrative. But these last few episodes in particular have not delivered on the show's potential, I think.
Agreed.
You know how
good show, bad episodes.
Like we went from cool kick-ass sci-fi series to My Little Pony. Say in the way that Tekla beat, what's her name?
Lamprey.
Lamprey, that's right. Sorry. Tekla beats Lamprey with the
power
of friendship. Yeah! Like it just kind of went Reboot season 1. And
although I will say
Reboot season 1 has been better.
Yeah, that's true.
That newer My Little Pony show, seen a couple episodes because my partner likes it. It's not bad.
Yeah, right. Really? Is it good?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll give
it a
chance.
Not approaching like brony territory here or anything like that. I'm just saying I caught a couple of episodes of that.
He's just saying
Pony show.
He has he has a sprinkle shine stuffy somewhere off camera.
I don't. Hang on.
A sparkle glitter.
I'm just making up names that I know aren't real.
So am I.
Yeah. I know.
You got a launch pad?
That's my partner's actually.
Oh, really? That's wicked.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Yeah. So for the listeners and
viewers,
this is the first time Sniddler's ever actually been in my house. So because he was having some connectivity issues last week, so he was
I
like,
think.
"Hey, do you mind if I record at your place?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, you have working Wi-Fi. Yeah. So, thank you very much, Christopher Siege.
It's worked out.
Yeah.
So gentlemen, you remember how I had the problem with the first 4 episodes? My problems with these 4 worse was that go to this planet, beast drones on the planet, or sorry, go to planet, we don't trust you. What? There are beast drones. Okay, we trust you. Go to this planet, there are beast drones. Oh, well, we trust you, but I don't want to be part of the team. Go to this planet, there are beast drones. We join you. Go to, like, that's what every episode was.
It's
In this
basically
one, every episode is about a misunderstanding, and I can't handle like 3 or 4 episodes of that in a row.
It's very tiring. It's tired. Go
Tekla,
on.
ooh, she's bad, or is she good? Oh, she's possessed. Ooh, Femur's like, not part of our team anymore.
Femur's an
Oh, but like,
ass.
yes, he is. Oh, like Jade is actually all of the episodes are about like a misunderstanding, except the last one. And then the last one's like a slap in the face because like badass Commando single-handedly fucking takes his daughter and a base down with Jade.
I
Only 2
had
of them, and then he has to stand down.
because he doesn't fit his own standards. I had to throw my hands in the air for that one.
I
was
threw my
like,
hands up. I'm still
like, what the hell? Like, dude, like, please tell me you're gonna change your mind later. Like, I forget if he does, but please, you can't just do this. It's just so stupid. Did you fly someone in for this ceremony?
Are there only 100 people on each planet?
It happened seconds after the battle was finished. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. There's very, very small population.
Like, who even is this NPC that is now just taking the throne? Like,
what the hell is even that?
Also, make Graveheart the fucking like new king. He single-handedly cleared out the palace.
The guy's like,
quite literally, it never showed guards
well,
fighting the beast drones.
This show has shown us that there's a lot of racism that goes on,
right,
in this world. So, like, I feel, yeah. I feel like the people of the ice planet wouldn't be too happy if King Kraus was like, "Hey, here's a rock man to lead you, ice bugs."
True.
Just put a mask over him, like a toque, in the shape of like one of their people, like their insectoid-like people.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hi, I'm from Planet Ice. I'm the new king.
Hi, I'm a
definitely
mice.
not a miner."
I was gonna say mice miner. I'm an ice miner. Yeah.
Just put one of those like horse head masks on him.
Yeah, but a rubber ice planet mask.
Yeah.
So
I'm an ice horse. I'm a nice horse too.
So
I'm full of them today.
Ice horses couldn't drag me away.
Did somebody say ice horse?
Ice horse.
How many times are we going to kick this ice horse? It's already dead.
So, speaking of kicking this dead ice horse,
keep beating this dead ice horse.
It's dead tired, damn it. Stop it! Stop it now!
Okay.
So rating
the show
time.
has really gone off the rails.
You can rate it whatever you want. Last time I think we rated it out of 5 war planets. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess we can continue doing that. I'm going to start with Sniddler. Sniddler, out of 5 war planets.
Out of 5 war planets, I am giving this a solid 3 war planets out of 5. For all the reasons we've discussed over and over, I still love this show. Like, I'll still continue to watch this show. I just think it's a kick-ass show. We've already talked about the writing. We've already talked about the characters. We've already talked about the holes. I'm giving it a 3 because I still love Shadow Raiders. But yes. That's my rating.
Flexing. The characters are so strong. Like I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even the annoying characters have a purpose. Like the Vizier.
Yeah.
I understand that like traditionalism, xenophobia, right?
Yeah.
He served Pyrrhus's dad, right? Like he's very set
Yeah.
in his ways. Like
Mhm.
all even the side characters, they're all except nameless NPCs who take the crown.
Yeah.
But like all the characters visually, voice acting, they're all so strong. But
Yeah.
each individual episode's writing is
They
a little
just
oof.
if they could just write it so that the characters worked well together and they worked with the story, it would just be fantastic.
And
But this
maybe make
past
the
four,
plot.
but
Yeah,
this
maybe
past
make the
four
plot.
episodes, let's switch it up a little.
Make
Mhm.
the plot not about infighting. Fight the
Yeah.
beast planet. Fuck.
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah,
guys.
see, that's the thing. That's another thing that I wanted to bring up and I completely forgot. Thank you. Is that the Beast Planet is coming. Shouldn't you be fighting the Beast Planet? Everyone knows they're coming. And they've already been to every planet. They've
They have
already attacked
bases on
everywhere.
planet Ice, apparently.
So you keep on attacking them when they show up. Now, once you finish attacking when they show up, you should go after where they're coming from. You know?
Also, what is this? It's been like 5 whole episodes now where Femur's like, he's on their side. He's not. He's on their side. He's not.
Or Pelvis is just
We've
like, oh,
done
they
that.
hate you. Or
What
Pelvis
is that?
is like,
Okay.
oh, they hate you. Femur's like, oh, well, they can go chew chunks or whatever the hell he says.
I would like to know what Femur actually brings to the table. Like,
That's-
logistically, like, what is he actually bringing to this alliance? Because so far, I'm not seeing
Never
it.
addressed.
Indeed, Christopher Siege. He even says, wow, I've been duped twice by Lamprey. I think I'm in love.
yeah, I
Like, and
remember
he
that.
kind
It
of like,
sounds like a real
he-
healthy relationship.
and I'm like, do you want to fail? Like, what is up with this guy? Like, is he like a sadist and a masochist? He wants everyone else to die and
Yeah, like, this alliance gains nothing from him. And indeed,
No.
like,
It's
his...
just more trouble. Trouble.
well,
all he's done is create problems for them.
if you think about it from let's say each planet is about this. Again, we've only seen like a handful of people on each planet, but let's assume they're all Earth-like and they have billions of residents, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And each space fleet is like tens of thousands of ships. In which case, I could see them putting up with him because they need his forces.
Mm-hmm. He has an army.
He has an army. That's it. That's why they need him.
They have a Hulk.
And his name is Block.
Block.
When are we going to do things my way?
I'm giving these episodes 2 war planets out of 5.
Nice.
Really like the characters in this show. I like the show overall. The overarching narrative, as I mentioned, is quite strong. But these episodes were just not doing it for me. And I hate Femur, as I've mentioned. And Tekla winning the Mind War through the power of friendship. Like, fuck off.
It dropped at a point for you, didn't it? That single.
It did. If it wasn't for the power of friendship, like, I probably would have rated these 3 overall. Because, like, for my like personal like grading system, and this is how when I write reviews of movies, this is how I approach it. If I rate something 3 stars or above, it means I liked it.
Yeah.
But if I give something a 3-star rating, I'm like, I like it, but there's a lot of problems. But I still like it overall.
Friendship
the
that
power of
technically doesn't exist.
The power of friendship like knocked it down to 2 stars. So did not really enjoy these episodes. Like I said, still like the show overall, but this is bad, man. This is rough.
This is bad. This is very bad.
How bad is
How-
it, Christopher?
Thank you.
Is it very bad?
Tell me how bad it is.
Okay, so
How about
what
you,
are you going to give it?
NeoKal?
the NeoKal seal of approval is not stamped.
Fair.
It needs at least 4 for that.
Cool.
Uh,
It's going really well.
as I was watching these, I didn't think they could kind of like get worse. Now, here's the thing: where they follow Femur into space, and there was a mind battle, and like Lamprey was like a dominatrix, like kicking him around, and he was like all for it. And the humor, some of there's
Oh,
clever
yeah.
writing, like
Yeah.
the all like, oh, you need when you're being poisoned all the time, you need an antidote room, right? Like little things like that. I love. The character design is great.
Mm-hmm.
Having a main character like Graveheart, I don't see very often. Like I like him.
Yeah,
He's not boring.
Yeah.
Other reviews, I've looked around, seen if other people have talked about it. They say, "Oh, the show suffers because he's boring." No, man, he's
Graveheart?
he's a minor. Yeah,
he's weirdly humble for a
yeah.
protagonist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to know more about him. He left the military, as
Mhm.
we had found out. He wasn't
Yeah.
discharged or anything. He left because he disagreed with some of it and wanted to help people. And I want to know more about him. I want to know more about Jade. I want to know how Pyrus's dad died. The overall world and the lore and the character design. I think they look cool. I want to know how they all inhabited these planets. I want to know like more about it. I want to know how the beast planet like set up these like little bases. I want to see like the fight like brought to them. So when all of these episodes was just infighting and like Jacques, it's Jade and all of this. And here's the thing. It feels like the Beast planet is like Papa Void, who we haven't heard talk, and like his 2 kids like fucking around because Lamprey's plots are always very easily overthrown. And she's like, I'll get you next time. Next time I'll bring 10 instead of 8 drones. And I won't attack you where Graveheart can push a dumpster. But and
that's
like
embarrassing.
Femur showing up with like the briefcase as if he's ready to put a defense down, but there's no one else there to hear the defense. There's just a single guard with a lever looking at his like watch waiting for 12 hours to pass so he can kill Jade. That's hilarious to me. That's great, right? So I acknowledge all of the good. Like, well, what? Like, does he? Why does he have a briefcase? Why isn't anyone else here? And it's just like, really, of all people? And it's because it's a bit. It's a joke. There's no
Yeah.
trial at all,
No.
right?
Yeah.
And that to me, that's great. But like a little little bit on the side can't be the best thing about an episode.
No.
And like
Right.
the
Yeah.
power of friendship winning, the whole the 5th episode where like it's time for a meeting, we leave, and I talk to Tekla, it's time for a meeting, we leave, I talk to, and it's just back and forth in a conference room.
Yeah.
The power of friendship, what was like the next one, the I stand down. And
That just troubled me.
if the
I don't think
it's
I was
perfect.
as bothered by King Cryos stepping aside
It's
as much
if
as you guys were,
if it
but
had shown his people demanding he step down and he had a big choice to make, right? Like sweating, it's like, you have to stay in the palace, sir. And he disobeyed, crept out, and went looking for his daughter separately, I'd be on board with that. But it's just, it
No
smacked
one
me out of
asked him to do
nowhere.
it.
At
Nobody
the
asked him
very
to do it.
end, no. So at the
Yeah.
very end, I was so shocked and I was like, what the fuck?
No, he kind of
So-
just made it happen. He was kind of like, oh, well, I did this. I don't like it. Not going to talk to anyone else about it. So, yeah,
It gets
here's my crown.
So you remember last podcast I mentioned that I think the show, because like the last 4 episodes were about them going to another planet trying to strengthen the alliance.
Yeah.
Like trying to convince them to join. And what I said on that podcast was I feel like the show would have been better served if that had been stretched out over the course of an entire season.
Yep.
And what I would say is something like Cryo stepping down because he chose to save his daughter instead of like putting his kingdom first.
Feels rushed.
I feel like that would have been better served if like that had happened in an early episode in the season, and then slowly tension built over the course of the next like several episodes between him and his people, and eventually they were like, no, you need to step down for this.
Amazing, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
If that happened early on and then there was tension. So here's the thing, each episode feels like it could have been 2 or 3.
Yeah.
To agree with you. So, I haven't even said my rating. Oh man, like I said, I like the show, but these 4 episodes get 1 out of 5 from me.
1. Whoa.
Yeah.
3, 2,
It's
and
a
1.
big fucking oof from me, man.
Woof.
Collectively, they get a big old greasy amphibious oof.
Yeah, I think overall
Oof.
this show so far anyway like has a lot of big and really interesting ideas, but they just rush through them. They're like,
Yes.
we got to
We kinda
resolve
just
this in 22 minutes. So
push it through. Go, you know? And it
I
doesn't
think
really
the whole
resolve anything the way it should be. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, sorry. You're right. It doesn't resolve anything it should. And I feel like whole episodes, like J'accuse, can be thrown away. That episode does nothing to lend to the plot. It doesn't show us more of character development. Lends nothing. Completely throwaway.
Yeah.
The infighting is pointless. The beast, like the beast planet, like doesn't establish itself. It's just like a weird episode. I think it's hilarious. The Donkey Kong barrel attack. He throws one and he just pushes very slowly a dumpster and destroys a bunch. But they didn't write that to be funny. They wrote that as like Braveheart's taking a stand. And like I said, I do like the show, but
well, it's much like in Beast Wars. Like I'm sure when they're writing like a character, like a rock falls onto a character and squishes them, it's comical to us at this point how frequently it happens. But I doubt when they were writing it, they're just like, haha, Waspinator gets crushed by a rock again.
Or maybe they were.
Or maybe they were. Who knows?
So I'm looking forward to
mix it up a little.
The infighting, Femur's loyalty being questionable, being in the past, and just having solid episodes. Like, they need to get Mantle on board. They need to make an offensive move instead of just defensive moves. I want to see the next ones.
Action. You want to see action?
Not even action, because the gunfights are boring. But plot that's progressing the fight against the beast.
That's what I was looking for. Sorry.
Plot. The action against the greater plot. Yeah. Instead of just standalone like infighting episodes that don't progress the plot.
It's like we've seen all this before. Let's do something else. You know, let's carry on with the story and stop repeating ourselves every episode.
But he's just a minor. So
he's just a minor.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Right.
I think that's
all right, Rockhounds.
That's it.
I think that's probably a good time to wrap this up.
Okay, Rockhound.
If you want to support the show, wherever you're listening to it, give it a 5-star rating, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe, give it a like, anything. If you want to follow me, you can do so on Twitter at Lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB, or on Instagram at Christopher Siege, SIEGE. Sniddler, you are on Twitter as well, yes?
I am on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at APSNIDDLER, AP Sniddler. I'm also on Instagram.
And you can make a rap out of that.
Yeah, APSNIDDLER. And what else do I do? I think I'm on Facebook as well. I don't know.
Sometimes you make music.
Sometimes I make music, yes. And if you're interested in that, check out Phonosonics. That's my band.
Should make music for one of these shows sometime.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
Maybe.
I
Stay
do make
tuned,
music.
people.
I'm going to yeah, there's actually a couple of things that I'm writing for the other podcast, but
Oh, sweet.
yeah. So yeah, give me a like and a follow on YouTube as well. I'm on YouTube, AP Sniddler, just a bunch of random stuff where I open collectibles and
Eventually eats Joss Lewis.
I eat Joss Lewis a lot, and I'm not eating any today because I eat too much of those. And what else do I do? Oh yes, I dance like an idiot, dressed as a construction worker. So if you want to see that,
Sounds like a Saturday night to me.
it is. So yeah, if you want to see more of that, we're also on Patreon.
Oh, yes.
Hey,
Patreon.com/lasercomb.
that's right. LAZOR comb.
Yep. Cal, you
NeoKal.
have things too?
Do you have a thing?
I've got a thing or two. Yeah, I've got a thing. Neo_Cal with a K on Twitter. If you want to see pictures of ducks and the sunset.
Nice.
And I think we've got if you can creep our overall Facebook page or even send us some messages.
Yeah.
If you want on Facebook, Laser Comb on Facebook. Laser Comb Productions.
Yeah, facebook.com/lasercomb, as I spelled earlier, LAZORCOMB. If you want to send an email to the show, kind of doubt it, but if you do, you can send one to me.
If you're 90 years old and you want to send us an email,
send us fan mail. You can win a Joss Lewis and
send it to me,
also,
Christopher Siege at outlook.com.
Also, if you subscribe to our Patreon, you can receive cool stuff. Christopher, tell me if I miss anything here, but you can receive
Discord access.
Sorry, Discord access. Yes, you can receive audio outtakes, video outtakes. You can see all of our stuff that we don't release, which is pretty saucy, you know.
Yeah.
And you can also subscribe and get sweet merch, like Christopher is wearing an alphanumeric T-shirt. That's just one of the cool things you can get on our Patreon. So yes, subscribe to our Patreon for as little as how much? $5? $2?
$2. Dose. If you just want Discord access to engage and interact with us,
that's like
where
Canadian.
the magic of that is these shows happens. It all happens on Discord, folks.
It's dos Canadianos. It's just like $1.60.
So it's like
American.
So it's like a quarter US.
Yeah.
Basically a quarter US. Chump change.
We're actually doing okay now, I think.
And
yes.
On the subject of alphanumeric, the three of us have another show where we do this in a much less condensed and more engaged format, where we talk about Reboot.
Yes,
we go
one episode at a time.
by episode. We slow it down.
It's very exciting. Episode by episode. We are currently on season 3, and it's great.
Yep.
So I really hope to see all y'all there.
Yep. Me and Cal also do a Beast Wars show called Too Much Energon, where we
Too Much Energon. Where they
Too Much Energon, where we talk about Beast Wars shit and talk shit about Beast Wars.
Yeah.
In an equal amount.
A lot of shit.
In an equal amount, especially at this point in the show.
Because
it's been rough lately. We've been doing Too Much Energon for a while now. We're up to episode 41 at the time of this recording. And I have a couple of other shows that I do. Me and my partner do a show called Based On, where we watch a movie and read a book that the movie is based on, and we talk about the two of them and compare and contrast one another. The first episode was about Fight Club, and the second episode, which just released about a week ago, was about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the upcoming episode will be about Where the Wild Things Are, so keep an eye out for that. Nice. I also have a bi-weekly show where me and a rotating cast of guest hosts talk about cartoons aimed at an older audience called Cartoons at Night. First episode is live. It's about the very short-lived 2000 Clerks cartoon. And there's another episode coming out very soon about Stan Lee's Stripperella. And not a good show, but it was a fun podcast to record. So keep an eye out for that.
I remember that show. Yeah, it was not a good show.
I don't remember it.
I wish I didn't remember it.
I do.
I remember commercials for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could forget it.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So that has been volume 2 of War Planets Shadow Raiders podcast. This is a monthly-ish. It comes out about every 5 weeks. So we will be back on what is the date today? 28th. We'll be back on Friday, July 2nd with the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th episode of Shadow Raiders. I can see you, you know.
Oh, that was an Ellen to see. Oh, you were able to see me?
I was able to see you.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Shocked, I say. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
I didn't do it right.
So yeah, on that note, I have been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
I have been another host, AAP Sniddler.
And I am your other host, NeoKal.
And until next month,
I'm just a miner.
I don't have any ideas.
Something rockhounds roll out.
J'accuse!